Welcome. I'm David.
I'm Lindsay.
And this is
Desmonds, Donders.
Welcome to our first stop on our August tour. We're taking a walk from the park up down to Kidary Loch. We turned this little fella back onto his legs and he started to move away, but by the time we got back he was turned over again. I don't know what he's up to. Some of the woodland as we move on down the path. It's not far to the loch, but I'm not filming continuously with the video camera. Kidary Loch. And it's greedy mallards. It's quite windy, but first impressions is this microphone's not picking it up. That'll be interesting. Hello. I've been up to the loch and had a wander about, and Lindsay's gone for a walk around the loch, so let's see what she brings us. We're not exactly level, but it is a nice spot, and we could get a little bit more level, but we've been worse. So I hope you enjoy the little bit of video I've taken and Lindsay's photos of a delightful little place. Loch Kildary, or Lochanan and Tunnag in Gaelic. The Gaelic name means the Little Loch of the Ducks. There is a circular path around the loch where one can view the outstanding natural beauty of the loch and its wildlife. The islands are said to be mainly floating and can sink up to 4 feet during the winter months. Kidary Loch is a kettle hole loch which has had the banks of the loch reinforced with gravel and the water level managed through draining through sluices into the surrounding woodland. The loch is fed from water from the burn, and this was carried out in the 1930s by the then proprietor of Tarbat estates, Colonel Blunt-MacKenzie and Lady Cromartie. Around this time the Kidary Angling Club was formed and have been the custodians of the loch to this day. we're going to be moving on shortly to a Highland clearance village. This time, instead of a village in a glen that has been cleared of people, we're going to a village at the shore, at the coast, that has failed as a clearance village, and a brief look at why it failed. It's different to it's a different place entirely to the other places we've visited, and struck a chord with me, the honour and loyalty of the people that had been cleared from the land. Just amazing. Anyway, we'll be there shortly. We're at Bad Bay. In theory, this is an overnight stop, but I think we're both of the opinion it's far too close to the A9. Although people do stop here. Let's go and see life on the edge at the clearance village. Bad Bay is a clearance village that failed. It's like the Crivies and Gardenston on the opposite coast that didn't fail and are still thriving villages today. But Bad Bay, for whatever reason, was not a success. As a result of the Highland clearances, the people came down to the coast to try and eke out a living, a way of life, and places like this are testament to that. This one failed because the people left. They left to travel elsewhere to seek their fortune. It's hard to believe. There's a village right here. But there's the memorial to the village and the villagers at this point. And that's where we're headed. And there's the memorial with Lindsay stood next to it, showing just how large it is. Round to the right, which we'll see shortly, there's some more of the village. The names of some of the people born and or resident at Bad Bay are on each side of the memorial. The light isn't that good and it doesn't show the others. You can't see them properly on camera. But it's a poignant reminder of how these people were treated by the authorities of the day. Lindsay is off. Lindsay is off taking more photographs. I'm going back to the monument to wait for her to finish. Another of the clearance buildings. And remember, these buildings were built quickly and in desperation for shelter after the people were cleared off the lands, as the lords of the time decided that sheep were more profitable than people. Some more of the names as the light changes and I managed to get a visible shot. I'm right in close though, so it's at an angle. The third side, depending how you approach it, and I may be able to get the final side. I don't know if you'll be able to read this one or not, but I do want you to note that despite the way they were treated, the people of Bad Bay, before they left, served their country and died in the various wars with France, particularly at Waterloo. Sir John Sinclair had a problem. He wanted to improve the income from his Langwell estate in southern Caithness and introduce lucrative sheep farming. Unfortunately, the Langwell estate had resident families already living and farming there. The solution was eviction, and move them to Bad Bay, on the high cliffs south of Berrydale. 12 families were evicted, moving some 80 people to the cliff-top village, a place so inhospitable that the residents had to tether their animals and even small children to avoid them being swept over the cliff edge. In 1804, James Anderson evicted more families from his land at Osdale, leaving the Strath of Berrydale devoid of residents. And another wave of clearances occurred in 1830, when landowner Donald Horne evicted families from Auchencraig. Bad Bay was inhabited at least as early as the 1770s, but it was not until the infamous Highland clearances that the population began to swell. Houses had to be built from scratch, using any available material. Some built traditional Caithness longhouses. One of the residents of Bad Bay was Alexander Sutherland, born in the village in 1806. In 1839, Sutherland emigrated to New Zealand, and in 1911 his grandson Donald Sutherland erected a monument at Bad Bay to commemorate the families who lived and worked here. The monument stands near the site of his grandfather's cottage and is a very moving reminder of the hardships faced by the folk of Bad Bay. Thank you for watching Desmonds Donders, and remember, please take nothing but memories and leave nothing but tracks. Please subscribe and ring the bell for notifications, and hopefully we'll see you next time.